on my morning commute here, I often find myself kind of daydreaming about what I would rather be doing than being on this road to my job. And I guess I'll preface by saying I like my job. In fact, I love my job. I'm pretty good at it. People tell me I'm pretty good at it. I don't dread going into the office every morning. I'm not one of those people. What is it I would rather be doing? I've got a pretty consistent list of, things that I would want to do. I talked to a colleague about it recently, and they kind of gave the typical, I'd be gone. I'd buy an island, and I would just sit all day with my toes in the sand. And you know what? That's fine. That's a pretty tempting and attractive thought, to be able to just kind of chill on a beach somewhere and effectively do nothing. But long term, I am a busybody. I've got to be doing something. I can't be sedentary. I can't just sit around and think, well, hell, I'm rich. Now what? There's only so much vacationing I think you can do. I think, if you travel the world, okay, that might eat up a couple of months of your life. I look at some of the content creators here on YouTube, and I think, damn. Two really great guys, Rhett and Link, from Good Mythical Morning, come to mind. I'd do that if I could. If it wasn't an object of having to earn a regular paycheck all the time, I would absolutely sit on my ass and record videos. Or it's not sitting on my ass. I'm getting a little cynical. I would produce content. I would write scripts. I would record videos. I would come up with some concepts and create stuff for you guys to watch here, as opposed to me just pointing a camera at my ugly mug for 10 to 15 minutes on my commute. Love to just make stuff, and put it out there on the internet for everybody to see and enjoy. I'd love to do that if I could. If 100 people watch the videos, if 1,000 people watch the videos, that's cool. That's awesome. Music is another big one for me. I am not a talented musician. I'm not. I was in the mindset that I was a talented musician when I was a teenager, but I like music, and it's odd that now, as I'm, in my 40s, I look at music differently, and I think I would just love to grab a guitar and build a studio in my house and just sit there and record riffs. I would love to cover songs. Like, I could see pulling together a couple of people I know. I've got a nephew who's in a band that is very talented. He's got a good ear and a good head for music. I would want to sit there and, if I could make a business out of that, that would be pretty cool. I would hire my nephew to get a band together, right? And I'd be in it. I fancy myself a singer. I'm not a very good singer, but I've got some ability to mimic certain singing styles. But I would have him gather up the individual musicians that would work for the song styles that I would want to do. And this would be like his full-time job. I would pay this guy to run this operation, make it like an incorporated. So have the band name, but it'd be Band Name Incorporated, Dumbass Inc. or something. Like a little business around a band. For some reason I think that would be really cool. Writing is another thing. Over the last 15 years, there have been a handful of times that I've started stories, sit down with a word processor or in front of the computer and just start tapping away at the keys to try to get these ideas for stories and books out of my head. And I've got another relative who has found some success with self-publishing her stuff on Amazon and other spots like that. And she's encouraged me a bunch of times. When I do write, it's like I have to do it at night. It's 10 o'clock at night, and I know I've got to I really got to shut this down soon because I got to be up again at 6. But, you know, if I had that time, if I had that freedom, I would focus some time on writing and get a couple of these stupid stories finally finished and get them out there and see what happens. I'd love to have the time to just do that. I have this idea that, you know, I live in a fairly rural area. It's like a 40-minute commute. So as I run down this road every day, you see a lot of little buildings and shacks that have been different restaurants or different ice cream parlors or pizza parlors. And I always thought it would be cool to buy one of those and run it. And so here's the concept. I would make sure, one, that this thing could be open year-round, because part of it is you get these ice cream shacks, and we've got one in my town, but it's a seasonal business. She's open spring, summer, and usually the first week or two of fall, you know, you got to shut down. Nobody's coming for ice cream on Thanksgiving Day. Nobody's coming for ice cream January 2nd. What is feasible for me, not being a trained chef? So let's see what I'm not. I'm not a musician. I'm not a talented artist. I'm not a chef. I'm not a business owner. But if I was, I'd want to make sure that I could handle, you know, the level of cooking necessary to produce a quality product that people would want to shell out, you know, some cash for. Hot dogs. Hot dogs are the item. There's a lot of hamburger shacks, right? There's a lot of pizza places. I can't figure out the pizza place thing. I don't know if those guys are doing well or not. But hot dogs to me sound like a smart thing. Like, all I really need is a decent grill. I need a fryer, you know, so I could do French fries. I could do onion rings. I could do that basic, you know, concession stand fare. And what I would do is one side of the shack would be the grill, right? That would be where all the cooking is done, where the hot food comes. But then on the other side of the shack would be the ice cream joint, because I do think it would be cool to sling scoops of ice cream, you know. So what would I call this thing? I would call it Diggity Dogs. Now, don't steal my idea, you know, don't steal my intellectual property. That stuff is copyright by this guy here. Don't steal my stuff. But I would call the restaurant Diggity Dogs, and I do like a caricature type drawing of a Newfoundland head. You know what a Newfoundland dog is? I have a Newfoundland. They're great big nanny dogs. The dog from Peter Pan is a Newfoundland. So I would do like a cartoony drawing of a diggity dog with her tongue hanging out, because there's an ice cream cone and there's hot dogs over here, and it would just be like this big, cool, fun thing, right? And I could, whether I'm 50 or 60 or 65, essentially sit on my ass and play on the computer and sell hot dogs and ice cream to people while I create YouTube videos and and write scripts and play music. I think that's what it ultimately boils down to for me, is like, what I'd rather do is I would rather have the freedom to just do whatever I want. So what about you? What would you do? You know, would you be that one that just wants to relax on a beach, or, you know, stay at a log cabin in the woods and never see humanity again? You know, would you have an idea? How would you spend your time? Like, what would you rather do than be sitting there right now looking at this screen and watching this guy babble as he rides to work? Put it in the comments. Let me know. I'm curious to see what other people would do. If you think I'm an idiot for even considering these things as like second career options, or if you've got a better idea of something I should do, or maybe you can figure out how I can make that happen. I'd love to hear from you. Thank you for watching. Thanks for any likes, and if you subscribe, that'd be great. And I'll see you on the road.